Hello, third grade, and welcome to our read aloud. I wanted to show you a part of this book that can be really helpful for you to understand. When we talked about text features, we looked at glossaries. A glossary is like a mini dictionary for the book. The author puts words in here that he thinks you might not know, and then he tells you what it means. So, for example, a meatball. Ivan talks about throwing meatballs, and it's a dried excrement thrown at observers. Or maybe a knot tag is a stuffed toy gorilla. So if there are any words you're like, what is that? I don't know what that is. You can go to the beginning and look at the glossary and the definition. In this video, we are going to start reading on Stellas Help. Now looking at the table of content, I can find Stellas Helps. Click on the chapter and it will take me right there. Let's go ahead and begin. Stella helps. The men are still yelling. Some of the yelling is at each other, but most of it is at Ruby. I hear scrambling, pounding, shifting the side of the truck shutters. I'm starting to like this elephant, Bob whispered. I'm getting the big one, Max says. Maybe she can coax the stupid brat out of the truck. Mac opens Stella's door. Come on, girl, he urges. He unties the rope attached to the floor bolt. Stella pushes past Mac, nearly knocking him over. She rushes as best as she can, limping heavily towards the open back door of the truck. She catches her swollen foot on the edge of the ramp and winces. Blood trickles down. Halfway up the ramp, she pauses. The noise in the truck stops. Ruby falls silent. Slowly, Stella makes her way up the rest of the ramp. It groans under her weight, and I can tell how much she is hurting by the awkward way she moves. At the top of the incline, she stops. She pokes her trunk to the emptiness. She waits. The tiny gray trunk appears again. Shyly it reaches out, tasting the air. Stella curls her own trunk around the baby's. They make soft, rumbling noises. We wait some more. A hush falls over the entire Big Top Mall. Thud, thud. Step, step, pause. Step, step, pause. And there she is, so small she can fit underneath Stella with room to spare. Her skin sags, and she sways unsteadily as she makes her way down the ramp. Not the greatest specimen, Max says, but I got her cheap from the bankrupt circus out west. They had her shipped over from Africa. Only had her a month before they went bust. He gestures towards Ruby. This thing, people love babies. Baby elephants, baby gorillas. Heck, give me a baby alligator and I could make a killing. Stella ushers Ruby towards her domain. Mac and the two men follow. At Stella's door, Ruby hesitates. Mac gives Ruby a shove, but she doesn't budge. Doggone it, get a clue, Ruby, he mutters. But Ruby isn't moving, and neither is Stella. Mac grabs a broom, raises it. Instantly, Stella steps in front of Ruby to shield her. Get in the cage, both of you, Mac shouts. Stella stares at Mac, considering. Gently, but firmly, using her trunk, she nudges Ruby into her domain. Only then does Stella enter. Mac slams the door shut with a clank. I see two trunks entwined, I hear Stella whispering. Poor kid, says Bob. Welcome to the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, home of the one and only Ivan. Old news. When Julia comes, she sits by Stella's domain and watches the new baby. She barely talks to me. Stella doesn't talk to me either. She's too busy nuzzling Ruby. She is cute, little Ruby, with her ears flapping like palm leaves. by the handsome and strong. I am handsome and strong. Bob trots a circle around my belly before settling down in just the right spot. Give it up, Ivan, he says. You're old news. Julia gets out a piece of paper and a pencil. I can see that she is drawing Ruby. I move to the corner of my domain and pout. Bob grumbles. He doesn't like it when I disrupt his naps. Homework, Julia's father scolds. Julia sighs and puts her drawing aside. I grunt, and Julia glances in my direction. Poor old Ivan, she says. I've been ignoring you, haven't I? I grunt again. A dignified, indifferent grunt. Julia thinks for a moment, then smiles. She walks over to my domain, to the spot in the corner where the glass is broken. She slides papers through. She rolls a pencil across my cement floor. You can draw the baby elephant too, Julia says. I bite the pencil in half with my magnificent teeth. Then I eat some paper. Tricks. Even after Julia and her father leave, I try to keep sulking, but it's no use. Gorillas are not, by nature, powders. Stella, I called. It's a full moon. Did you see? Sometimes when we are lucky, we catch a glimpse of the moon through the skylight in the food court. I did, Stella says. She is whispering, and I realize that Ruby must be asleep. Is Ruby all right? I asked. She's too thin, Ivan, Stella says. Poor baby. She was in the truck for days. Mac brought her from the circus the same way he brought me. But she hadn't been there long. She was born in the wild like us. Will she be okay? I asked. Stella doesn't answer my question. The circus trainers chained her to the floor, Ivan, all 4 feet, 23 hours a day. I puzzled over why this would be a good idea. I always try to give humans the benefit of the doubt. Why would they do that? I finally asked. To break her spirit, Stella says, so she could learn to balance on a pedestal, so she could stand on her hind legs, so a dog could jump over her back while she walked in mindless circles. I hear her tired voice and think of all the tricks Stella has learned. Introductions. When I wake the next morning, I see a little trunk poking out between the bars of Stella's domain. Hello, says a small, clear voice. I'm Ruby. She waves her trunk. Hello, I say. I'm Ivan. Are you a monkey? Ruby asks. Certainly not. Bob's ears perk up, although his eyes stayed closed. He's a gorilla, he says, and I am a dog of certain heritage. Why did the dog climb your tummy? Ruby asks. Because it's there, Bob murmurs. Is Stella awake? I ask. Aunt Stella's asleep, Ruby says. Her foot is hurting, I think. Ruby turns her head. Her eyes are like Stella's, black and long lashes, bottomless lakes fringed by tall grass. When is breakfast? She asks. Soon, I say, when the mall opens and the workers come. Where? Ruby twists her head in the other direction. Where are the other elephants? It's just you and Stella, I say, and for some reason I feel we have let her down. Are there more of you? No, I say, at the moment. Ruby picks up a piece of hay and considers it. Do you have a mom and dad? Well, I used to. Everyone has parents, Bob explains. It's unavoidable. Before the circus, I used to live with my mom and my aunts and my sisters and my cousins, Ruby says. She drops the hay, picks it up, twirls it again. They're dead. I don't know what to say. I am really enjoying this conversation, but I can see that Ruby isn't done talking. To be polite, I say, "I'm sorry to hear that, Ruby. Humans killed them," she says. "Who else?" Bob asks, and we all fall silent.